Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to integrate Google Play game services events inside your Godot game engine. So we will be creating an Android plugin to integrate Google Play game services events in Godot game. So these are events are basically like, suppose if a user has picked up a coin inside your game, so those kind of events, whenever something important happens, you can have events inside your application, and most of it is taken care by Google Play services. So let's see how to integrate it. Okay, so the first thing is, if you want, I will be using this documentation, and with the help of this documentation I have just created one cheat sheet, so don't get confused. Yeah, if you want you can just refer to this documentation as well while creating the Android plugin, because I will be copying a lot of code. Also, the other thing is, at the time of me recording this video I'm using Godot 4.3.0, but if you're using higher version that's fine as well. I don't think there will be any breaking changes as such. Next, what you will have to do is, firstly you will have to create a Godot project. Also, other thing is, you will require a paid Google Play Console account. So I already have a paid account. I think it is $10 to $12 for lifetime. The price might increase by the time you see this, so yeah, something around that. So you require that, otherwise you won't be able to use Google Play game services. Also, like I mentioned, Google Play game services is only for games. So if you are making an app with Godot, you won't be able to use it. I mean, you can use it within an app itself, but while selecting or creating the app on Google Play Console, you will have to select it as a game, which I will tell you later on. First thing, as usual, I have created a Godot project, and then inside project, go to click on install Android build template. Now if you're doing this for the very first time, you might have to download that template. I don't need to, I have already downloaded it, so I will just click on install. So it will install the build template for us, and then you will have to go to project, export, add Android, and here you can just click on fix import, and here select this use Gradle build. Now if you don't know what architecture you will be testing your app on for your Android device, just select all four of this. I know my Android app, my Android OS or the Android device architecture is this one. If you don't know, just select for all four of this, doesn't really matter. And the important thing is knowing our package name. Now don't use this default package name, because we need to use this package name on the Google Play Console as well. So I will use com.myawesome Godot game. Okay, dot your name of your app or game as well, but I'll keep things simple. So something like this is fine for me. I'll just click enter, and then I'll close it. The next thing which we have to do is, we will have to go to Google Play Console. Okay, so as you can see, I'm inside Google Play Console, and here you will just have to click on create app. So again, I have already paid Google $10 for the usage fees, so you will have to do that first, and then you just have to go to play.google.com/console, and you will come to your Google Play Console. And again, then I'll just click on create app. Alright, so the next thing which we have to do is give our app some name. So I'll just give it as Godot try. You can give it a better name. And here is the important part, you will have to select this as game. If you select it as app, you won't be able to use Google Play services in your game. So here you will have to select this as game. I'll keep this as free. I'll click on this, and click create app. Now let's just wait for this to complete. Okay, then you will have to go to grow users, play game services, setup management, configuration, and here we so suppose if you're already using some play game services inside your project, then you might have to click on this. We are not doing that, we are creating a fresh project, so we can just click on this particular thing. Then we will have to create one cloud project as well. So for that, you have to click on create new cloud project and click on go to cloud console. Again, here you will have to give your project some name. I will again, you make sure you use the same name what you have given it on Google Play Console, just to be on the safer side, otherwise it might lead to unnecessary issues. So I will create this project with the same name. I'll click on create, and I will just select our project once it has been created. So let's just wait for this to complete. So I'll just click on select project, and here you can see in the drop down it has selected Godot try. Okay, let's go to Google Play Console again. So we have created a new project. Yeah, organization, this is fine, and then just click on done. Once this is done, just click on refresh cloud projects as well, and you should be able to see your Godot project. If you're not able to see it, wait for some time. So here you can see I'm not able to see it. Let's just wait, or let me try searching it. Godot try. No, still no. So again I'll just click on refresh projects. Okay, so finally it is available, so I'll just select that, and here I will just click on use. And then I will click on create OAuth consent screen. Again just click on this Google Cloud Platform, and it will open it inside a new tab. Now here you will have to click on external, click create, and here again give some app name, but make sure you use the same name what you have given it on your Google Play Console. So it is Godot try. Now make sure you select your support email ID as well. Like I won't select it now, I will do it later because I can't show you my email ID. And here just once make sure you just click on this drop down, select your email ID, and here you have to give again, if I'm using a different email ID over here, but if you want you can use the same email ID, so it's up to you. I would suggest use the same email ID what you have used over here, but yeah, for given that this is just a practice project for me, it's fine. And then you will have to click on save and continue. Okay, once that is done, again scroll down, again click on save and continue, and here we have to add some test users. So I'll just click on add users. Given that I have not published my actual production app to Google Play Console yet, we won't be doing that, so that's why I will be using this test users. Now you will have to log in with same test users when our app has finally deployed onto Android device. But again, like once you publish your app to Google Play Console, the production app or the production APK or the Android app bundle, then you can remove your test users if you want to. So I'll just click on add, and here you can see it has added my email ID, and then I'll just click on save and continue. Then I'll just scroll down and click on back to dashboard. Also, one more thing is, if you are publishing your app to Google Play Store later on, then you will have to click on this publish app section as well. I'm not doing it, so I will ignore it for now. Then again I'll go back to Google Play Console. So yeah, we are done with this. Then I'll just click on confirm configuration. Then we have to click on create credentials. So firstly just scroll up a little, and here you will see this add credential button, so I'll just click on that. And next here is our first, you have to select Android. Make sure you enable anti-piracy once you are publishing it to Google Play Store, but I'll keep it off for now. Then again we have to create this OAuth client ID, so just click on this create OAuth client ID and just click on this particular link. Then the next thing which we have to do inside application type is we have to select Android. Here we will have to give our package name. So like I told you, go to project, where was it, project settings, I guess, no, not project settings, project export Android, and this was our package name, right? So I'll just copy this package name, I'll close this, and I'll come over here, I'll paste my package name over here. Now I require the SHA-1 certificate. So to get the SHA-1 certificate, we will have to run this particular command. So I'll just open my terminal and I'll just paste this command, but be careful, this command is for debug APK key. So if you see over here, this is the path, this is actually the path, so this is for Mac OS, I'm using Mac OS, so this is the path where your debug key store is located. If you are using Windows, you will have to change this path. I don't know where exactly it is located for Windows. Also, if you are creating a release APK, then you will have to change this to your release key store. Then you will have to change this to release alias name, release store password, as well as release key password. But for debug, it is Android and Android debug key. Now for me, this particular debug key store is not inside the .android folder. By default it is in the .android folder for macOS, but I have changed it to my downloads folder just for easy access. So I will just change that, and I'll just click on this, then it will generate the SHA-1 for me. So here you can see it has generated this SHA-1. So I'll just copy this. Again, if you are creating a release APK, you will have to again run this command with the release things and update this SHA-1 inside your cloud project as well. So don't forget this step. So I'll just paste this over here, And again, you also have, if you want, you can verify ownership once you are publishing it to Google Play Store. We are not really doing that, so yeah. So I'll just click on create. Now it will give us a client ID. It is pretty much useless, we don't really require this. I'll just click on OK. Then I'll go over here. So we are done with this. I'll click on done. Now again we have to just refresh it, and just, yeah, here is our Android client, and I'll click on save changes over here. So this is done. Then we have to do the same thing for our server as well. So just scroll down. Okay, we just have to go back. Just scroll down, and here again click on add credential, and click on game server. Again we have to click on create auth client ID. Click on this particular link. Then here we will have to select web application, and here we'll just have to click on create. Okay, then this will give us the client ID. Now copy this client ID. This is very useful. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it inside my Godot project. So what I'll do is I'll just create a 2D scene over here. I'll just scroll this. I'll create a 2D scene. I'll just save it, and here I will attach one script to it, and I will just copy this client ID, which would be useful for me later on. I'll just paste it as a comment. So make sure you use this, keep hold of this client ID. Okay, once that is done, again I will go back to our Google Play console, and here I'll click on done. Refresh auth client ID, and I'll select our web client one. I'll click on save changes. Okay, so this is done as well. I'll go back to configuration. We'll add the gameplay services later on. We have added our testers. Then we'll just click on publish your project. Okay, and there are few things which are needing our attention, so I'll just click on this description one first, and here I'll just give some description. My awesome game. Give it whatever you feel like. Here you will have to select your game category. I'll just select action, and here we have to give some game icon as well. So I have already created some game icons. I mean, I used AI for this. Use whatever you feel like. So I'll just copy and drag this. So this is for our game icon, and we also require one feature graphic as well. So I'll just copy this feature graphic as well, and let's just wait for this to upload. Okay, so this is uploaded, and then I'll just click on save changes again. So finally, hopefully all our steps are complete. Again, I'll just go back to configuration, and I'll again click on review and publish, and I'll click on publish game project. So this has only published our game project so that we can access our Google Gameplay Services API. We have not uploaded APK. You will have to do that separately. Okay, then again I'll go to configuration, and what I will do is I'll click on this add gameplay services SDK to your APK to use the API. So I'll just click on this. Here you can see that these are the gameplay services documentation. If you want, you can go through this documentation. I won't be going through this documentation. But yeah, next thing which we have to do is we have to just create an Android project. So just open Android Studio, click on new project. You can select either this activity or empty views activity. I'll just select empty views, click on next, and here I will just name it as my Android app. Don't create this inside your Godot project. I'll create it outside my Godot project. So I'll just go to, so here inside the Godot folder I have my Godot project. So I will create this inside our Godot folder. So I'll just do this, and then I'll copy this and I'll paste it over here as well. Okay, now the warning is gone, and then I'll click on finish, and it will create an Android project for us. Now this will take little bit of time, so be patient. Yeah, the Gradle syncing does take a little bit of time. So yeah, let's just wait for the Gradle syncing to finish. once our Android project is created, I'll just close this. This is not of much use to us. Then you will have to make sure you are in the Android drop down. It will automatically go to your Android drop down once the Gradle syncing is finished. Then you just have to right click on this new module, select Android library, and give your library whatever name you feel like. I'll just give it as my library to keep things simple. Change the package name to whatever you feel like. Again, I'll keep everything as default, and I'll just click on finish. Now it will create the library for us, or plugin, whatever you want to call it, and all the code which we will be writing will be inside this plugin. So again, it is doing Gradle syncing, so let's just wait for the Gradle syncing to finish. So I think it has almost finished now. So here you can see it has created the library folder. Now what I'll do is I'll write all the code and then I'll explain it to you. I don't want to type all the code out in this video, otherwise the video would be very long. So I'll quickly write down all the code and show it to you. Right guys, I have written all the code, so let me explain it to you what all I have written. So first you will have to go to build.gradle.kts of my library, and here, like I told you, I'm using Godot 4.3.0. if you are using some higher version, make sure you update this particular number as well. So you will have to add this particular bit of code, and for Google Play Game Services we have to add this particular library as well. Again, I'm using the latest version. The warning which is coming from Android Studio is telling me that use version catalog. I don't want to use version catalog, that's why I've kept it over here. Okay, so this is fine. Also, the other thing is make sure you use compile SDK as 35 over here. Then you will have to come over here, sorry, not this, but this Gradle build.gradle of our app, and make sure you change the compile SDK over here and target SDK over here. So these two changes, and then you will have to go to libs.versions.toml and make sure you are at least using Kotlin 1.9.25. Now some of you might be thinking that Godot 4.3.0 targets up to SDK 34. This is fine, don't have to worry about it. So in future, if you update to Godot 4.4.0, which will, I think, support SDK 35, we will already be supporting that inside our plugin, so we don't have to worry about it. Also, I think for Kotlin version, Godot 4.3.0 uses 1.9.10, I guess, but here you can update your Kotlin version to whatever you feel like. So I'm using the latest. I mean, this is not actually the latest. I think Kotlin 2 is also out, but I think 1.9.25 is fine for our case. So make sure you add this, and once you do that, you will see a sync now button. So I'll just make some changes. So here you can see you will see a sync now button, and you just have to click on sync now. Make sure this is 2.2.0 only, and then you can just click on sync now, and it will download all the dependencies for you. Again, the Gradle thing will take little bit of time. For me it was pretty quick because I have already downloaded all the dependency. So once you have downloaded all this dependency, important part is this one. Make sure you have added this. Once this is done, I'll close everything. Then you will have to go to your library, go to Kotlin plus Java, and inside the first folder we will have to right click new Kotlin class file and give the name as Godot Android plugin. I have already created it, so won't create it again. So just use this, and firstly these are all the imports which I am using, so you can just copy paste all the imports which I have. Then we create a class called Godot Android plugin, which extends from Godot plugin, and the name I have given it as my plugin. You can use whatever name you prefer, but do remember this name because we will be using this name in a lot other places as well. Then we create a global variable for our game sign in client, and as soon as our Godot setup is completed, we initialize the play games SDK. So this is mandatory thing which you have to write to initialize the play games SDK. And once that is done, we initialize our play games, so game sign in client as well over here. Now there are two scenarios. One is the user is already logged in inside your app, or the user needs to log in for the very first time. So let's suppose the first scenario in which the user is already logged in into your app. So in that case, what we will have to do, as soon as I'm initializing game sign in client, I'm checking whether the user is authenticated or not and adding a complete listener to it. If the user is authenticated, then we will come over here. Then we have to get hold of playgames.getPlayerClients, and here I'm passing the activity over here, and then I'm getting our current player, and again I'm adding an on complete listener to it. And if we are able to get the current player, here you can see task is successful, then I'm emitting a signal with all the user details back to Godot side. Now there are a lot of details in this my task.result. So if you want to quickly show you, so if I show you, so here you can see this is how a player entity looks like. So it will have a player ID, it will have a display name, it will have an icon image URI, then icon image URL. There are a lot of things, high res image URI. So you will have to decode this on the Godot side, but with the help of this emit signal we are sending all this from Godot side. If you want to check what all things are present, just press a dot after result, and here you can see we have player ID, icon image URI, all this stuff there is. So I don't want to go into details, but you can choose whatever you feel like, but I'm sending everything as a string back to Godot side, so you will have to decode it on Godot side. And I'm just displaying a toast message. You can remove it if you want to, and if the user is not signed in, again I'm displaying a toast message, but you can again send a signal back depending on what is your use case. Suppose if the user is already signed in, then maybe you want to redirect the user to some different screen. If not, then keep it on the login screen, so something like that. But I'm not sending a signal over here, I'm just displaying a toast message. And similarly, if this particular check fails, the check at the start, this one, if the user is not authenticated, then also I'm display a toast message over here. Okay, then here we are overriding this method called get plugin signal, and then we are just adding our signal called user detail signal. So this will be this thing which we are using it over here, so to send data back to Godot side. Then I have defined one method. So suppose in case the user is opening our app for the very first time, that in that case the user is not logged in, right? So I will be creating a button on Godot side, and on click of it we will be calling this particular method. So this exactly does the same thing what I have defined at the top. So basically I'm just doing game sign in client dot sign in dot add complete listener. If sign in is successful, then this is exactly the same. We just get the details of the user who has currently signed in. So again I'm just sending those details back to Godot side, displaying a toast message. In case of failure also I'm displaying a toast message, and in case if something goes wrong, then also I'm displaying a toast message, but you can handle it in a much better way. So yeah, that's it on for this particular file. So yeah, in case if you have missed it, feel free to pause the video wherever you feel like. Once this is done, you will have to go to the manifest folder, go to android manifest.xml. Now this I have just copied it from documentation. Ignore this meta tag for a moment. You just have to do this application metadata, then this should be your plugin name. In case if you forgot, here is your plugin name, so just copy it over here. And next for value, this should be your package name. So here you can see this is my package name, and dot the Kotlin file name Godot Android plugin. That's what I have written over here. Now we require one more metadata tag for Google Play game services, so you can just add this particular metadata tag. And for this particular value, and go to Google Play console, go to your project. So you require this project ID, so you can just click on configuration. Here you will be able to see your project ID. So just copy this project ID and you will have to paste it over here. So make sure you copy your own project ID, not mine, otherwise things will not work for you. Okay, so the next thing which we have to do is we will have to once this particular Android manifest thing is done, we will have to go to the project drop down over here, and here inside my library you will have to just right click, new, create a directory and give it a name as export underscore scripts underscore template. I have already done that. Then inside this you will have to create these two files, export underscore plugin.gd as well as plugin.cfg. So again, just to create a file, just right click, new file, give name as export underscore plugin.gd. Same thing you can do for plugin.cfg as well. So if I go to plugin.cfg, now this I have again copy pasted from the Godot documentation. Only thing which you have to be careful about, this should be your plugin name, and you can change the description author to whatever you feel like. And here inside export underscore plugin.gd, again this has been copied from docs as well. Only thing which you have to worry about is if I scroll down here, you can see this should be your plugin name. So make sure you write your own plugin name over here, And if I scroll down, we also need to add this extra method called get Android dependency, because we have added the extra dependency of Google Play game services inside our build.gradle file. So we need to make Godot know that you need to download this dependency when you are building my app. The Godot Android dependency is fine, that Godot is already aware about, so we don't have to tell it. But with this particular extra dependency we have to tell it, and make sure you use the same version what you have defined it inside your build.gradle file. Okay, so this is done as well. Then we will have to go to project. We will go to Android. Let me check my quick cheat sheet pretty quickly. I might be missing something, so I've told you this, I've told you this, I've told you this as well. Okay, then what you will have to do is you will just have to cd to your Android project. So here you can see this is my Android project, right? So just go to cd to your Android project, and then you will have to run this particular command called /gradle w assemble. It will generate all the dependencies for you which you really need. So once that is done, if you go to your Android project, go to library, build, outputs, AR, and here you can see 2 AR files being generated. Now I will open one more tab and I will go to my Godot project. So this is my Godot project. Okay, so inside your Godot project you will have to manually create a folder called add-ons. Then inside that create manually a folder called plugin. Then inside plugin you will have to, if I go to my Godot library again, here you can see inside export scripts template we have to copy these 2 files and paste it inside the my plugin folder. Okay, don't paste it inside bin, you have to paste it inside my plugin. And also inside my plugin you have to create another folder called bin. So I have created that. Then inside bin create 2 folders, debug and release. Okay, now again go to your library, go to build, outputs, AR, and here you will have to copy the debug AR file to the debug folder, release AR file to the release folder. But you will have to change the name. For debug folder it should be whatever is your plugin name -debug.ar, and for release whatever is your plugin name -release.ar. So this is very important, make sure you do all the steps. Okay, once that is done, again you can just come to your Godot project, go to project settings, go to plugins, make sure you check this particular checkbox as well. Then inside this particular UI, all I have done is that I have taken one button as well as one label. Okay, this label should not be part of our button, it can be different. So here you can see this is our button, so I'll just move it down, and this is my label. So the label will only display all the user details which we are sending it from Godot side, from native Android side, sorry. Okay, and as usual we had already attached one script. So if I go to the script, firstly I'm creating like variable for our label, and I have also attached this on pressed signal of our button to our script as well. Then if you come at the start, here is our plugin name, here is our Android plugin name, Android plugin variable, and this is my plugin name. Make sure you write your own plugin name. And inside onReady we are initializing our signal, and we are initializing our plugin, and we are also connecting our signal. So whenever we get our data from Android side, this particular method will call, and here you can see I'm just updating the text of our label. And on click of our button we just do if Android plugin dot login. That's it. Then I think you can run your application. Let me quickly check if I forgot anything. Don't think so. Be careful with that SHA-1 which we had generated. Many people make mistake while generating the SHA-1. If after running your output, if you are not able to log in, then that means there is some issue with your SHA-1. So do check your SHA-1 again, because the debug APK trips many people up. I know it did cause a lot of confusion for me as well when I was trying this thing out. But anyways, now let me show you guys the output. Okay, so I have installed my app. I'll just click on my app. Now I'm mirroring my device, so the output is little laggy, and here you can see I am automatically logged in. Even before the splash screen is displayed, I am logged in, which is a good thing. And here you can see I'm printing the user details. I don't have to click on the login button because I was previously logged in, and Google Play game services was smart enough to fetch all my details. So if you remember, the reason why we logged in inside the splash screen itself, because we have done this on Godot setup completed, right? Inside this itself we were checking whether the user is already logged in or not. If the user is already logged in, then give me all the details. Let's see what happens if I click on login button again. So I'm already signed in. Again it does the same thing. Yeah, so hopefully you got the point. Okay, to create events, again I have come back to Google Play console. Go to events tab, click on create event, and then you can name it whatever you feel like. I don't know, my test event. Okay, and here inside event type I will just keep it as none. You can change it whatever format if you want to currency source or currency sync. So typically whenever some kind of an event happen inside your game, you can call this particular event. And number of decimals I have kept it as 0. Change it to whatever you feel like. You can also include custom units if you want to, but yeah, I'll keep things pretty simple. If you want, you can add an icon as well, and I will just keep this state as revealed, and I will just click on save as draft. Then I will just go to our events, and I will just review and publish. Click on publish changes. Okay, so it has been published. If I just go to events again, here you can see it is published for everyone. Back to our code inside our Android plugin, what I have done is that, so these are all the imports which I'm using. In case if you don't have any of this import, make sure you add this import. I think these two are the new imports which I have added. So I have written all the code for it. So basically I have already shown you all this. This is all login stuff. Inside our get plugin signal, I have added one more signal for event. So whenever I want to get some data related to event, with the help of this signal, I'm sending it back. Okay, so here as you can see, I have created this signal called event signal, which will help us to send the data back to Godot side. Then again I have already shown you this login method, so it is pretty much the same. Then here I have created a method called submit event. So when anything important happens inside your game, you can call this particular submit event, which requires an ID. That ID we will be sending it from Godot side. And here as you can see, I'm incrementing it by 1, but you can use whatever you feel like, whatever value depends on your application. You can also create multiple events. So in Google Play console, I have just created one event just for the sake of simplicity. And load event, now there are multiple ways to load event. I have created 2 methods. So if you want to load a particular event, so here you can see, I'm using this array of, and I'm only passing one event ID because I only have one event. But if you want, you can pass multiple events as well. But like I mentioned, if you want, you can pass multiple event inside this particular array as well. So it depends on you how you want to do it. So here I'm just passing one ID itself, and then again we just call play games dot get event client, pass our activity to it, load by ID is as true, and here we pass all the event IDs. Then once add a complete listener to it, if the task is successful, then we get all the results, and here I'm just printing it to the console. But here you can see what all things are present inside your event. So if you see these all things, event ID, name, player, value, description, formatted value, icon, image, URI is visible. I don't know why I'm getting this particular warning. I think this is a mistake from the Google Play services side itself. They should not give this particular warning because we require the name of the event. And here what I'm basically doing, so this is a list, right? So I'm just joining all the list by comma separated thing, and I'm just getting the name of all the events. And then here you can see I'm sending it back to Godot side. So I'm only sending the event name, but like I told you, there are a lot of other data as well. So feel free, like event ID, player, value, description, whatever. So you can play whatever you want. And here I have just added some else clause. This is for handling any kind of an API exception. So I'm just doing that over here as well. Now the second way, called load all events. You don't need to pass ID. All the events whatever you have, I want to get all that. So again, just play games dot get events client, pass your activity, load as true, add on complete listener. If task is successful, then get all the data inside it and just loop over it. Again, it has all the same things again, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just joining all the list by comma separated, and I'm just joining them via their name. I'm not interested in other data, but obviously you might be interested in other data, so you can use it however you feel like. And then I'm sending it back to Godot side, and here you can see again I'm doing the same thing of handling exception. So I'll simply go at the top and simply scroll through this file. In case if you have missed anything, feel free to pause the video wherever you feel like and just copy the code. Also, one more thing is, given that now we have made changes inside this Kotlin file, we will have to run this .gradle assemble command again to generate a new AR files, and then we'll have to copy it inside our Godot project as well. Okay, so yeah, that's it on the code side. Again, I'll just go inside my terminal, go to the root of your Android project and just run .gradle assemble. And it will this should get completed pretty quickly. So it has done. Now I will just go to my Android project, go to library, build, outputs AR, and again I'll here inside I'm Godot project, go to add-ons, I will go to debug, I'll just copy this name, okay, and I'll paste the name over to this particular file. Then I will drag and drop over here inside our Godot project debug folder. Then I'll do the same thing for release. I'll just copy this name so that I don't have to type it again, and I'll just rename this itself, and I'll drag and drop. So it has done that as well. Now inside my Godot project, all I have done is that I have created 3 more buttons, so submit event, load event, as well as load all events. And inside my script, if I show you, I forgot one thing. I will have to uncomment this, and we'll have to use the signal name what we were using over here. So the name was event signal, so I'll just copy this over here. And yeah, I have added click listener for all these 3 buttons inside, connected those signals as well. So if you see on the second button press, we are basically calling submit event. Now where you will get the event ID, then you will again have to go to Google Play console, go to events, and here you can see this is your ID. Just click on it. If you have multiple events, you can copy those as well. Just copy this ID and paste it inside your code. On this third button press, I'm just calling load event. Like I told you, it can also take multiple IDs as well, but here then you will have to change this particular thing to accept multiple ID, and then here you can use that. But I'm just accepting one ID because I only have one ID, and then converting it to an array of. That's why I'm just passing this one ID over here. And on fourth button press, I'm just calling load all events. Also, if you notice on this particular signal, again I'm just calling this particular method. You can create your own method, and then we are just updating the label. So even I have not tried it. Let's see. Let me run the application and get back to you whether this works or not. So here is the output. Now I'll just click on submit event. It doesn't really give a callback because it is a synchronous operation, as you can see over here. If you want, you can emit a signal as well. I'm not really doing that. Then I'll just call load event. Keep an eye on the label. Here you can see I'm sending the label, the event name, right? So that's why the label updated to test event. Yeah, sorry, the label font size is too small. And if I just click on load all events also, I think I will get the same thing. So here, because I only have one event. But yeah, hopefully you got the point. Trust me, it works. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.